Have you ever found yourself in this situation? Standing in the grocery store, waiting in the checkout line, when you suddenly cough and feel that dampness. Not a lot, but enough to make you wish you could disappear. No one saw, but you know, and that embarrassment lingers with you all day long. That feeling is familiar, isn't it? You are not alone. In fact, over one-third of women over 60 in America have experienced bladder leaks when coughing, laughing, or lifting something heavy. The thing is, so many people think it's just a normal part of aging. But the truth is, it is not. It is not something you are forced to live with. Leading urologists and geriatric specialists all agree on one thing: leaking when you cough is not your destiny. It is the result of a series of physiological changes over time, which, if understood and addressed early, you can absolutely control. And the good news is you do not need expensive medications or surgery. With just a few small habits, you can reclaim your body more gently and effectively than you might think. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 simple yet incredibly helpful tips that have helped thousands of women over 60 in America overcome the fear called leaking when I cough. These tips will not only help you feel more confident when you go out, but also restore a sense of control. A precious feeling as we move past 60 and still want to enjoy life as fully as possible. You will not have to endure that embarrassment every time you leave the house. You will no longer have to choose dark-colored pants or keep a spare pad in your purse. And the best part? You can make these changes starting today, right at home, with just a few minutes each day. Please stay with me until the end of the video because the final tip is something few people know, but it is the key that helps you break this frustrating cycle the fastest. If you are watching this video, please give it a like to help spread this useful information to more women. And do not forget to subscribe so you do not miss our next shares on health over 60. Now let us begin with our first tip. Tip 1, practice squeezing your pelvic floor muscles, Kegel exercises, every day. You might think that only a young body needs exercise, but there is one muscle group that, even as you pass age 60, still hopes for your attention every single day: the pelvic floor muscles. This is the silent protective barrier that helps control your bladder. And when it weakens, even a slight cough can cause an accident. Most women do not realize that the pelvic floor is just like any other muscle group. If not exercised regularly, it will weaken. And that weakness does not announce itself. It only shows up through unexpected leaks, a loss of control in the most surprising situations. You cough when the weather turns cold, you laugh at a funny story, or you bend to lift a basket of laundry. And then you have to quickly hide a tissue in your pocket. But here's the truth: you can regain control with one simple exercise: the Kegel. It is the act of squeezing and relaxing your pelvic floor muscles, the group of muscles running around your urethra, vagina, and anus. Practicing correctly every day not only helps strengthen this muscle group, but also improves its endurance and reflexes, thereby preventing bladder leakage when you cough or sneeze. Dr. Michelle Tempest, a geriatric specialist in California, once shared that, with just 5 minutes a day, within 8 weeks, most women over 60 felt a clear difference. They coughed more comfortably, walked longer, and most importantly, they no longer carried the fear of wetting their pants. One of the people I spoke with was Elaine, 68, from New Jersey. She used to decline going to the movies with friends just because she feared coughing in the theater. After consistently doing Kegels daily, while brushing her teeth, waiting for rice to cook, or even watching TV, she said, "I feel like I've just taken back a piece of my own power. I'm not afraid to cough anymore." If you have never tried, do not worry. No equipment needed, no private space required. You just need to be ready to start. Imagine you are trying to stop the flow of urine. Squeeze for 5 seconds, then relax. Repeat 10 times. That is one set of Kegels. At first, you may not feel it clearly, but like planting a seed, the change will come, slowly but surely. And one day, you will realize you coughed and you did not have to worry. That is the silent but priceless reward for your persistence. Now you know the first way to reclaim your control. But there are 2 more tips, one of which is very easily overlooked, though it could determine whether you can confidently walk out the door. Tip 2, limit drinking a lot of water right before going out. You have probably heard the advice, drink plenty of water for good health. And that is true, water is essential. But for women over 60, there is a little told truth that the timing of your water intake is just as important as the amount. Because drinking too much right before you go out can put you in an awkward situation, especially when you cough. Your bladder after 60 is not as flexible as it was in your youth. The muscles that hold urine are weaker, and reflexes are not as quick. When your bladder is full, even a small cough can create immense pressure, overwhelming your ability to control it. This explains why many women have no leaks at home, but experience an accident as soon as they get to the grocery store or church. Linda, 66, from Houston once shared, "I used to drink 2 glasses of water before leaving, afraid I would get thirsty on the way. But every time, as soon as I got out of the car, I had to rush for a restroom. One time I coughed in the parking lot, and I had to go back home to change. From then on, I started making a change." That change was not to stop drinking water, but to adjust the timing and method. Instead of drinking a lot at once right before going out, you can spread your intake from early morning and gradually reduce it after 2 p.m., especially if you have plans for the evening. If you feel thirsty, just take a few small sips instead of finishing a large glass. Urology specialists also advise that caffeine and diuretic beverages like black tea, coffee, or orange juice can stimulate the bladder to work harder, especially if consumed before going out. Consider replacing them with warm filtered water or a mild herbal tea. A small but effective trick many people use is visit the restroom before leaving the house, even if you do not feel a distinct urge. Emptying your bladder before you cough, talk, or enter an appointment will help minimize internal pressure and avoid an unwanted situation. You might be thinking, it's just water. Why so complicated? But it is from small things like this that you are taking back control, gently, without pressure, and without having to sacrifice your healthy habits. Because ultimately, what you need is not just health, but peace of mind when you walk out the door. And you absolutely deserve to have that, with just one very small adjustment each day. Now you know 2 of the 3 secrets to help you cough comfortably without having to look down in embarrassment. But there is one final tip one few people notice, though it can be your shield the very moment you cough. And I will share it right now. If you are still watching and finding these shares helpful, drop a 2 in the comments below us to let me know. And if you have not subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss new videos. Your support helps us continue creating more helpful and inspiring content. Tip 3, lean slightly forward when you cough to reduce pressure on the bladder. Have you ever paid attention to your posture when you cough? You probably have never thought about it. But posture, seemingly insignificant, is precisely the factor that determines whether you can cough comfortably or will be embarrassed by an unexpected wet spot. Many people, when they cough, tend to stand straight or even lean backward, a natural reflex to release the force. But it is at that moment that all the pressure in your abdomen pushes directly down onto your bladder, which is already weaker after 60. And with just one strong cough, your body cannot react in time, causing urine to be pushed out before you can control it. The method is simple but surprisingly effective. Lean slightly forward when you cough. Just by gently bending your upper body, like you are leaning down to talk to a child, the pressure in your abdomen will be distributed to the muscles in your hips and thighs, significantly reducing the load on your bladder. Dr. Sharon Miller, a pelvic floor physical therapist in Oregon, once called this move an instant safety shield for women over 60. She shared, "Many of my patients have stopped using daily pads just by changing their posture when they cough. It seems small, but it brings a remarkable sense of control." I remember meeting Angela, 70, at a community workshop at the local library. She said that whenever she was about to cough, whether in the kitchen or at church, she would lean slightly forward while also tightening her lower abdominal muscles. I call it my defensive stance. Since learning this trick, I no longer have to keep a jacket ready to cover my pants whenever I go out. Correct posture not only helps you avoid leaking urine when you cough, but also supports spinal stability, reducing the risk of back pain, a significant side benefit for older women. And the wonderful thing is, You can practice this posture right at home. Stand in front of a mirror, give a light cough, then bend forward slightly and cough again. The difference in sensation will come very quickly, as if you have just added a protective layer to your body. Gradually, it will become a natural reflex whenever you need to cough in public. Remember, sometimes just one small motion, a slight lean forward, can get you through situations that once made you blush. You do not need to live on the defensive. You just need to understand your body and give it exactly what it needs. We have just explored 3 simple yet powerful tips together. Practicing pelvic floor squeezes daily, adjusting water intake before going out, and slightly changing your posture when you cough. These small things, seemingly insignificant, can help you avoid one of the most embarrassing and inconvenient situations after age 60. Because bladder leakage when coughing is not just a physiological issue. It affects your confidence, your get-togethers with friends, even whether you dare to laugh out loud in a crowd. But the good news is, this is not something you have to tolerate. You can control it, you can change it, and you can start today. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to do everything at once. Just choose one thing. Maybe it is doing Kegels while your coffee brews, or simply drinking less water an hour before you leave. Just one small change, but every time you choose to care for yourself, you are reclaiming a small piece of your control, your dignity, and your joy for life. I know you might have thought, I'm old, what is the point of changing now? But Angela learned to lean forward when she coughed at 70. Elaine started doing Kegels at 68. And thousands of other women, each one a little bit every day, have reclaimed the confidence they thought was lost. You can too. You do not need equipment. You do not need to spend money. You do not need to wait. You just need to begin. And if you found these shares helpful, I hope you will leave a comment below. What surprised you the most? Which tip will you try today? Your small shares can help someone out there who is struggling alone with this unspoken worry. Please hit like and subscribe to the channel to continue on this journey of wellness over 60. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video, where we will continue to find our control, stability, and peace in every step of our later years.